So anyway, I was thinking about my father, and I found out that I have not fully read the, or of course I have not fully read the Vakya. My samskara Vakya is just with talking with him. When I was studying the Bhashya, he was writing the Ambakarti at that time. So I will come every summer to our farmhouse where he had retired. So for 10 years, regularly, and I studied Bhashya with him. It's really strange, like he took 2 months to explain me the Paspashanika. I said, you don't need to go beyond Navanika, you can take care of things by yourself. So Navanika was the end. So anyway, this is something which you should consult, but going back to again, remember, the Prakriya is doing Lakshya to Lakshana. The tradition before that, the Prachina Vyakarana, does Lakshana to Lakshya. That's the difference between Prachina Vyakarana and the Navya Vyakarana. The other thing, you think Bhattoji Dikshit and others were fooled that they would wait for Rama Nath Sharma to appear and shoot his mouth against them? No. They knew everything, but they didn't tell us everything. Maybe they thought that we are not qualified to go and study. Or maybe they think that this is not a believer. Usko boliye ayati, bitha bhashe parishama. Kaudi yadi na ayati, bitha bhashe parishama. So anyway, I have spent most of my life going from Lakshya to Lakshana. And in other words, plotting those points or dots on the path. What stations are there? Like if you want to go to Chennai.
Lakshya to Lakshana is like reverse engineering, sir.
What?
Reverse engineering, we call. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you rewrite Pachati and go at the end, I have shown in that paper, Pāṇini tradition of grammar and linguistics. The sentence has kind of 30 definitional terms at the end. So you introduce a term, you exhaust the operation relative to that term, and there is a hierarchy of terms assigned. So like in the order you assign the term, in that order you finish the operations. That is how you reach to once you have exhausted the dhatu, etc., in ekvachana, dvivachana, uttaman, etc., and you reach the satisfy the condition of saradhatuka, ardhatuka, then you move beyond that. So the only technical term that you have at that time which will lead you is dhatu and saradhatuka. Because they will occur too earlier on in saradhatuke. And then you get the changes in the base, the augments, agamas, and then everything. There is one thing very clear. Now, what are the operations? How many operations are there in Pāṇini? The most major operation is the replacement. Sometimes you believe that everything is a replacement. Except when he puts the introduction of an element and qualifies it, like tit, nit, etc. tit, Atmanepadanam te e. So the tit, a tit term is different. All those qualified terms, they lead you beyond the dhatu or beyond the pratipadika. Then at the end you reach pada. From anga you go to pada, and the end deletion, drenatva and shatva, etc., all those operations are carried out with the terms. So at the end, when you derive a pada like pachati or ramena, you have a string of terms that leads you to the end point in the derivation. So all you have to do, just begin at the end, come to dhatu or a pratipadika, and it will show you the paths different derivations follow. And that's the chart.
But this, from the Prakriya tradition, can you build fully? I doubt some places it's not very...
No, you have to present your understanding of why those stations are there and how they function. Unless you explain that, so here I am, I explain. I have given, I think, a 10-point explanation of derivational history of examples. Okay, how do we construct it? So, you get dhatu, you get la, you get thing, you get sarvadhatuka, along with uttama, madhyama, ekavachana, dvivachana, etc., etc. For this derivation, there are derivations which may have others. You know, for example, if you have a fifth of it, that will be kartari kriya, or it will be kriya thing that will define it. So, what is a thing? That will give you another appellation. Or upapadam, a thing, so you get the upapada formation. So you have the kriyantas coming out, you have the upapada compounds, etc., constructions, and then you go to dhatu sambandhi, pratyaya, etc., in the 3, 4, in the pada. So we come to the end of the, by the time we end up with the end of the dhatva-dhikara, you have different kind of derivatives. You have the sanantas, sanadyantas, you have the kridantas, you have the upapadas, you have the tingantas, the major ones. All those are paths. Because you start out with a single input. If you start out with, for example, if you don't start out with dhatu of the bhuvana dhatava kind, then if you start out with a nijanta, then surely you have to show that I start here from dhatu and I go to the derived dhatu, and then I take that to dhatu 3191, and then I only perform the operations which are given for the other dhatuka, not for the sarvadhatuka, because that term won't apply, sarvadhatuka won't apply. So these are the various paths that we follow. The same thing happens if you have a pratipadika, then the term pratipadika is forming pratipadika. So you don't go and scan the Tritiya Adhyaya. You go to the 4th Adhyaya, you go to a rule which is formed term Pratipadika which has been assigned to your input, talking about the computer language. See, that's what Chomsky can do to you. So, you go and to Nyam Pratipadika. But look at the adhikaras of Nyam Pratipadika. The form has to be a Pratipadika, or it has to be a form ending in affixes neen and chap, tap, dap. That's ni and up. So if your input doesn't, there are two kinds of inputs that you have under the requirement. One is the Nyabanta. Is that a Pratipadika? No. Otherwise he wouldn't identify them separately with Pratipadika. So, besides, he has the subdomain Striyam. He also has Striyam in Striyam Tin, where in Vasarupa Striyam. So that's an exception to Vasarupa. Optional application of an apavada. So that's an apavada to the Samanya Upsarga Kriyate Samisheshena apavada. So that's the Vishesha apavada, Vasarupa, optional, only applicable to that particular chunk of rules. So, you take two types of inputs. One, those which are marked with Neep or Neem or Nish or Chapta Da, or you have Pratipadikas. So how many Pratipadikas do you have? The Nyam Pratipadika understands that the Pratipadika is either Arthvada Dhatu or Pratyam Pratipadikam 1 to 45, or you have 1 to 46 Krittadhe Samasascha. So it's the output of the Dhatu Adhikara that ends in a Krittanta that goes to Krittadhe Samasascha, that becomes Pratipadika, and then it goes, it gets into the domain of Nyam Pratipadika. See how that is tried.
That means this is in line with Sarvam Shabdam Dhatu Jama.
Yeah.
But that does Pāṇini.
I wouldn't go there.
No. Pāṇini, I heard, was not very much in agreement with this. Is it right, sir?
No,
that is Yaska's statement.
I only believe in what I see. With my little buddhi, whatever. And I always stand corrected. Normally, I don't shoot my mouth. And I would be surprised if you say that you are shooting your mouth. But, Sarvam Pitri Prasada Sambhavati. So, you have a Pratipadika. Then move on. 412. So, just modus chasta bhyam visige bhyam vyasagasi bhyam, you get soap. Again the question comes, how would I select a single soup out of 21? So again you have to reconstruct the soup. And that will take you supaha, etc. on the side of Tingasthini, etc. and the supaha vibhaktischa, etc. So I have shown you the chart, what are the terms which are brought for classifying the soup, like vibha, Vibhakti, etc. Ekvachan, Dvivachan, Bahuvachana, and Prathama Ditya, Tritiya, Chaturthi, Panchami, Shashti, Saptami, etc. And in my writings, I started doing that with my Folia Linguistica paper in 1978. I took that notation device of 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, where 1 is the nominative and 1 after the oblique is singular. So you get nominative, singular, dual, and plural. Similarly, Ditya is 2, 1, 2, 3, Ditya, Ekvachan, Bahuvachan. So that's the notation, comes fairly handy in the linear scheme, because Devanagari wouldn't allow that. You have to go up, you have to go down, you have to go left, you have to go right in the writing. So anyway, that's one path. He is giving you an option. You have a Pratipadika, select this. No, I don't want to. The artha, the semantic requirement, like Vartamane, you have here Striyam. That's the next option he is giving you. You want to derive a feminine word, Ngin, Ngip, Ngish, Ngin, you derive. But then all those Ngin, Ngip, Ngish, Ngin, and Jap, Tap, Dap derivatives, they are going to be sent back to Nyam Pratipadikas again. Right? So you start out with a Pratipadika, you end up with a Yamanta. After you reach that Yamanta, then you select Nyam Pratipadika. Again. And then you select Slokas Motas Shastabhyam. Is it correct? No. You can then again go to Striyam, depending on what you want to do. So you get Sarnaravaha, Sarnaravi, Aupagavi, you get Aupagavayana, Aupagavayani. So go, it's an endless process.
You have to go back and forth.
But it's a circular thing. The output of a domain headed by Pratipadika is going to receive a Pratipadika as an input. That's where we talk about the root cyclic applications of. So all these rules have cyclic applications.
Some secret applications.
Cyclic
Cyclic.
So the theoreticians, linguistics, although as I said, there are many terms which are differently used in the Sanskrit linguistics. There are many which don't have any meaning, relevant meaning here, although they are used in different meanings. For one of them, one Prati Prasava, which I thought I will use it for bleeding rules in phonology, but I abandoned that. See, I have been following the transformational genetic grammar till its death, when it went into the Kabra. Because I was very close to all these people. I have seen Chomsky. Chomsky's colleague Fritz Stahl, I knew very well, he was a good friend. Then I have been friendly with Kiparsky, although I wrote a very damaging review of his Pāṇini as a variationist in the Language and Society. He has some wild charges against Patanjali. I don't know why, being a student of Joshi, maybe Joshi would have given him some answer. Like he says, why do we have to look at Pāṇini through Patanjali's eyes? So I met with him. I wrote it. I said, but for those eyes, Patanjali may not have liked our brain. But if it was not for those eyes of Patanjali, we shall forever be blind. So, one choice, Striyam, one choice, Saujas Motsup, one is Striyam, and then the third choice is Tadita. So you should remember that once you take the option of Saujas Mot, you don't come back to Nya Pratipadika.
That means Niyap you do before.
No, but it doesn't mean that you don't go to the domain of Tadita. If you are coming up with the input of a Tadita, then you can take the option of Saujas Mot, then you can come back to the Tadita. Samartha Bhyam Prathamalva. So what is Samartha? That is the one which is going to bring you to the Tadita section. And once you are out of the Tadita, you can go to Pratipadika, you can take the option of Striyam, you can take the option of Samarthabhyam again, with the Saujas, or you can go to the Tadita. Thereby you get Sargaravaha, Sargaravi, Sargaravayanaha, Aupagavaha, Aupagavi, Aupagavayana, God knows what. It's not all. So remember, these are circular things. You must have seen in the first volume, I have given you a formulaic picture of bases, base 1, base 2, where one base is Pratipadika, another one is Dhatu, and how far you can go before reaching Sup or Ting, or Tinganta or Subanta. I have found a couple of more paths that you can go to. So suffices to say that if you want to look at the fact of derivation, you are bound to see it after the fact. The tradition has given you that derivation. And then what you are going to do is you are going to have a derivation presented as guided by the terms which say that go left turn, right turn, stop at the red light, etc., etc. Drop dead also, lopa. So that will show you the history, where this man started, where this man ended. So you begin at the end point, gradually and slowly reaching to the starting point, which will be a Dhatu or a Pratipadika. So this is what I meant by referential indices before I had found an answer to Navido Sastamiti Nanavakyam Bhavati, and especially the sentence that the Yatodesh Samarthya Samskara is brought to the Karikal context. Okay? Alright. So obviously with this talk we are getting into the fourth Adhyaya. In other words, we finished the third. So what is the output of the third? A Tinganta, right? A Kridanta, right? Basically Kridanta and Tinganta. And a non-Tinganta is defined as Kridanta. So there are two kinds of affixes which are introduced after a root. The thing
Arkan.
and thing. Okay? So let's go to the fourth. I wish I had, we had more time, because what is, after you have understood the notion of referential indices and the paths that a different derivation takes, you start out with New Delhi and you go, either you're following the path of Calcutta, you're following the path of Nagpur, you're following the path of Bombay, Bihar, Rajasthan, etc. After you have understood that theory in terms of the derivation, what you need is a carefully selected derivation. Like you have 10, 12 derivations. I have been in the process of selecting such derivations, that I have been able to select something like 6, 7 definitely, the derivations that I would like a student to be conversant with, including Ajargaha, so that if you are not married, you can get married. So,
those days are gone.
Achi kamata na janati barbari, ajarga na vijanati tasmai kanyanati.
So what was the expectation of grammatical perfection? Good.
I think it's in my 6th volume. I have discussed this thing. Anyway, all the derivations are there.
And Ajarga. Okay.
So, this is the point where I should give you at least 4 or 5 Sanadyanta derivations, and then 4 or 5 Tinganta derivations, including the Kridantas, and that will form the roster for understanding fully how the Tritiya Adhyaya puts the output. Similarly, you have to discuss at least 10 derivatives where you are getting the cyclic application within the Tadhitas from the Striyam, etc. And sometimes people get so sick and tired that of Tadhitas. Joshi used to say it's interpolation. On that thing, I would like to say one thing. Interpolation or not, whatever text of the Astadhyayi we have, that works fine. No one falls dead because of some variation in rules. We are fine. We don't have any problem. So whatever text we are fine with, and we follow the Kashika, we follow the Bhashya, we follow Bhattuji. When it comes to variations, we can take any form and we can work. So that is more important than bickering. Maybe we are not qualified. I have a recording. One summer I went to Pandit Rama Tripathi and I asked him to explain to me the variations in rules of the Ashadhyayi. So I had collected from Mimamsaka, from Ramsakar Bhattacharya and others. By the way, Bhattacharya was my father's student. I saw him studying with my father. It's unfortunate that he passed on at a very about 64, 65 was the age. Brilliant. If you can
It is there, I think it is available from Chokambara.
Is it?
Yeah.
So
This is by Tarashankar Bhattacharya. Who is this?
Ram Shankar Bhattacharya. I'm surprised if it's available, but that's one book, a very good book. And especially he talks about Kashika, he talks about the Katantra school and Durga Singha, etc., which is very refreshing to see the other point of view. I wish we could have a very good study of Pāṇini with Tolkappiyam. If that will be, I have been, all through my life, I have been trying to find such a study so that I could enlighten myself. I don't know now.